Representing the family of Sarah Telgarsky is Sarah Ballard. Ms. Ballard.
Marcus.
Good morning. Will you state your name for the record, please?
Sarah Ballard.
Thank you. You may be seated.
All right, you may proceed, miss.
Okay. Again, my name is Sarah Ballard, and I'm 22 years old. I am the daughter of Sarah Telgarsky and, Craig Ballard. I'm a little nervous. I was 18 years old when the Station Nightclub caught on fire. I remember it like it was yesterday. Friday, February 21st, 2003, the day after the fire. I had gotten home after my morning class to find the house empty and the lights on. I was a little confused as to why everything was just kind of left in disarray, and it made me feel uneasy, but I let it go and didn't think of it again. Later that day, I got a phone call from my aunt telling me there was a nightclub fire in Rhode Island and to watch my exits when I go somewhere.
Slow down just a little bit so we can get this on the record.
Okay, sorry. Okay. I didn't know my parents had been in the fire until a friend of theirs came to my house asking me if I had heard from them and telling me later that my parents had been in this fire and that my father was at UMass Hospital and I had to file a missing persons report on my mother. Being told that you have to file a missing persons report on a parent when you're only 18 years old is really frightening. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't think and I couldn't stop crying. I went up to the hotel. I went up to the hotel in Warwick where I had to file the missing persons report, and after a couple hours, my aunt called me into this dining room and asked me to sit down. I stood there instead, waiting for her to tell me what I already knew. She said, "Sav, Mommy's in heaven now." I couldn't handle that. I fell to the floor and couldn't breathe. It felt like someone had knocked the wind right out of me. I didn't sleep the whole night. I was in shock, and I just wanted to wake up from this horrible nightmare. They couldn't even find her body. It wasn't until 1 week later that they identified her by only dental records. Just imagining the thought of my mother being so burned, she could only be identified by dental records, kills me to this day. While planning the funeral and answering phone calls, I also had to move out of my home, pack all my things and my mother's things. I had to say goodbye to everything I've ever known and get readjusted to a whole new life. I moved in with my grandparents. My father was in the hospital for 4 months in a medically induced coma. And when he finally started healing and woke up, they moved him to another hospital to get physical therapy. He had no idea that my mother hadn't made it out of the fire until he came out of his coma. He survived the fire, but he still has some severe nerve damage in his hands and can't use them very well. Seeing him lifeless and swollen in that coma was really difficult, and it made me wonder what my mom must have looked like. Not only that, but I have to wonder what she felt and what she was thinking about. She must have been so scared. The last time I got to see my mother was in the video of the fire. She was right up front by the stage, wearing a red sweater and having a great time. I had a voicemail on my phone from her that she left me on Valentine's Day, and I kept it for months so that I could hear her voice. I did talk to her on the phone the day of the fire. She told me she loved me and that she'd see me tomorrow. I never got to see her one last time after that, or say goodbye, or tell her how much I love her. It's been really hard for me these past 4 years. I never really talk about how I feel. I always try to stay strong for my family especially my grandparents. Seeing them cry breaks my heart. Our family isn't whole anymore. There's an empty chair where my mom used to sit. My grandma told me it feels like there is a link missing in the family chain. The one thing I always feared in life was losing my parents. When I lost one of them, I didn't know what to do, and I had every emotion there was to be had, and it was like a part of my heart and soul died too. I think about my mom every day, and I miss her so much. I feel like I see her everywhere I go, but it's never her. It's also been really difficult to deal with everything when you have this constant reminder of how she died. It's in the paper, on the news, and whenever someone does write a story on her, they never talk about what a great person she really was, but just that she died in this tragic fire. My mother was an amazing person who loved to go out and dance and have fun, work on her garden, and she loved her job as a nurse helping people. She touched a lot of lives. I would give anything to have her back. No one could possibly understand this kind of pain unless they've gone through it themselves. What I have learned from all of this is life really is too short and to never take anything for granted. Every moment you have with the people you love and care about is precious. I just wish I never had to learn this life lesson. Thank you, Your Honor, for letting me read my statement.
Thank you, Ms. Ballard. Would you mind leaving that with us so the stenographic recorder can check it? Thank you. All right, you may proceed.